Hello, this is Photography Gamer, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'll be looking at 10 indie games I think you should play. Okay, let's get into it. Number 1, Broforce. Broforce is a side-scrolling run-and-gun platform game. In Broforce you play as a variety of characters from Bruce Lee, Robocop, Rambo, Ripley from Aliens, Blade and many more. And that's one of the cool features that makes Broforce so unique. Every time you die, you take over a new bro, with each having slightly different weapons and moves. Another cool feature is the destructible environments, allowing you to destroy entire levels or tunnel your way underground to the extraction point. The sound is also worth mentioning, with some of the most chaotic and hilarious effects you'll ever hear in a game. And add to that the online or couch co-op gameplay, and all these factors make Broforce an absolute joy to play. You know, if you're looking for something that's very immediate, very fun, colourful, kind of old school but modern, with so many cultural references, like this is an absolute blast. Like, I played this with a friend several times, we've played it through probably twice. It's just really hilarious and it never really gets too boring. So if you've never tried it, this is an absolute gem. Number 2, Deep Rock Galactic. Deep Rock Galactic is a co-op or solo first-person shooter with heavy emphasis on mining and resource gathering. In Deep Rock, you play as a mining dwarf, with all the dwarves being split into 4 distinct classes. Each class of dwarf has a different loadout, ranging from light flares to illuminate the dark caves, heavy drills to forge a path through the fully destructible levels, and several other variations. Core gameplay in Deep Rock sees you and other dwarves get dropped onto a large rock. You then tasked with resource gathering, protecting drills, on escort missions, digging out alien eggs, and many more options. When the mission ends, you've got a hectic countdown to exit the region before the pod departs, which isn't as simple as you'd think. You see, in Deep Rock, the entire level is destructible, which means you'll be tunneling in all manner of ways to find the precious resources on your current contract. But those tunnels can be a big issue when you're racing against the clock on your route home, and it makes each mission have this really fun and tense crescendo. The visual customizations are great in between missions. You know, you can sell minerals, adjust your loadout or your visual presentation, or you can just go to the pub, put on the jukebox, have a boogie, neck some pints, and have a good laugh with your crew of dwarves. For me, this is one of the best indie games of all time because it's so simple and yet so complex. It's so, it is repetitive, but I've played this for hours on end. I never get bored of doing missions, even if it's the same sort of mission. And it's a rarity in that I can play this solo and enjoy it because you get a drone to come with you. You can play it with a friend, like in a 2-person squad, or if you go online, you can jump into like another game with 3 other players. And in any of those situations, the quality of the experience doesn't drop, which usually is a sort of a problem with these sort of games. But yeah, Deep Rock Galactic is such a fun and playable game, and once you get sucked into it, it's so addictive. Killed it on Steam, I'm killing it on Xbox again at the moment. Probably, it might well be the best game on this list, but if you've never played it, I would strongly recommend you give this one a go. Number 3, Mortal Shell. Mortal Shell is an action role-playing game developed by Cold Symmetry. In Mortal Shell, you enter the mysterious world of Fulgrim, a dark and foreboding landscape full of grotesque creatures, deadly enemies, and fallen knights. And it's these fallen knights that provide the unique aspect that sets Mortal Shell aside from its peers. As you explore, you'll find these dead knights, who can be inhabited by your ghoulish character. Over time, you'll come to learn about that warrior and develop their skills. There are also special weapons to be found, and it's a really nice system that makes progression feel relevant in terms of exploration. Now, the similarities to Dark Souls, they're very strong, but I'd say it's a lot more accessible and playable here, because it's really a game designed for new players to the genre. It's not too obtuse with its difficulty. The music is absolute pitch perfect, exceptional stuff, and the game really exudes a nice dark and foreboding art style and atmosphere. It's also a game that has had considerable updates since its release, and for fans of the Souls-like genre who are looking for a kind of a lighter version, Mortal Shell is absolutely excellent in terms of an option. Number 4, Door Kickers Action Squad. Door Kickers Action Squad is a side-scrolling tactical action shooter developed by Killhouse Games and Pixel Shard. Not to be confused with the top-down door kickers game, this side-scrolling classic features pixel graphics, cover-based tactical combat, mixed in with the immediacy and fun of retro gaming. Whether it's the campaign, the zombie mode, or the infinite tower, this is one of the most playable indie games I've encountered over the years. You've got varied playable characters that all have a slightly different loadout, but you can level them up and purchase perks and gear for each one. Like I said, there's many firearms, gadgets, explosives, and special items that will really help turn the tide against the terrorists. And it's a really well balanced game with fun presentation, satisfying mission by mission combat, hostages to save, and when played in couch co-op, this is a blast. This was one that I looked at and I thought it looked somewhere between Broforce and a sort of a cover-based shooter, and that's kind of a good marker for it. The campaigns, the zombie campaign, the normal campaign are really good. For me, the Infinite Tower is amazing because it is what it says it is. You keep going until you die, and it's one of those game modes you can just keep playing because it's like, oh, how many floors can you make it? Can you beat your record? And every time you play that mode, you're still accumulating experience, so you're never wasting time in the game. Number 5, Wreckfest. Wreckfest is a racing game developed by Bugbear Entertainment. For me, this is one of the most fun games on the list, with amazingly entertaining races involving fully destructible vehicles. Solo offline play allows you to race against aggressive AI drivers and use your earnings to purchase new cars or customize and upgrade them. But it's the online matches where you'll have endless laughs and entertainment. Whether you're racing on tight street tracks or doing an epic multi-lap affair on an oval track, each race is different due to the destructible nature of the cars and the tracks. You'll be on lap 12 on an oval trying to dodge broken down cars or debris and keeping an eye on that aggressive driver behind you. The best word I can use to describe this game is fun. It's lots and lots of fun. I loved it. If you like driving, racing games, and you like a bit of destruction, and there's a destruction derby in it as well, definitely one of the better ones out there. Number 6, Human Fall Flat. Human Fall Flat is a puzzle platform game developed by Thomas Sakalauskas. I hope I said that correctly. Now, on the surface, it might not look that entertaining, but Human Fall Flat is really unique as you attempt to navigate the tricky levels and puzzles. The thing that makes it unique is the control system, as your triggers control the use of each arm. You have to use them and the analog sticks to grab onto ledges, pull yourself up, or grab and carry items from A to B. And it's an arduous process, making the absolute basics in computer games feel like an epic achievement. That's what makes it so satisfying when you solve the puzzles or navigate the levels. But when played with other people, this game turns into an absolute ridiculous, fun experience. Having to work together results in some truly wonderful disasters as you try to synchronize your movements, or just hold on to your friends for dear life as you hang off the edge of a cliff. It's so much fun. It's very simple looking, but don't get put off by that. Give this a go. If you play this once, I guarantee you'll be hooked in. Number 7, Salt and Sanctuary. Salt and Sanctuary is a 2D action role-playing game developed and published by Scar Studios. In Salt and Sanctuary, you play as a unique character from a variety of races or classes. You can play as a knight, mage, archer, or somewhere in between, with an incredible amount of weapons, potions, and items available to find on your quest. Think of it like a love letter to Dark Souls, with the similarities being almost unbelievable. How they got away with it without being sued, I do not know. But this game does stand on its own 2 feet with such a wonderful character, charm, and in-depth gameplay to keep Souls and Metroidvania fans entertained for weeks. The game offers a sustained challenge with tough foes, epic bosses, and solid progression as you collect the salt from your ever so salty foes. Use that salt at a sanctuary to level up or purchase items, and the skill tree in this is quite unbelievable. The couch co-op is a wonderful addition too, but sadly online is not an option. For me, it's one of my favourite games of all time in the indie genre. It's got beautiful, grotesque characters, amazing customization, really in-depth gameplay, and it's a game that's just full of things to appreciate and enjoy. Really good. Also, I do love Scar Studios. I think they're a fantastic studio. Their work is well worth checking out, but this is really, really top drawer stuff. Number 8, The Forest. The Forest is a survival horror game developed and published by N Night Games. The game takes place on an island where you've got to find your son, who's been kidnapped by weird, freakish characters. Now, The Forest is a survival game, but it's also a survival horror game. It puts together like resource gathering, crafting, and building with really creepy enemies. Like the enemies in this game have some of the most believable AI that I think I've ever experienced. Because what I mean by that is, we've all played games where you run into an enemy and they have a sort of a pattern. In this, the freakish tribal locals have like a very unpredictable nature, and it's so freaky, and especially when you go down into the caves under the island, which are dark and disturbed and full of creepy shit. My goodness, it's so terrifying and creepy. But like I said, crafting is dealt with really nicely on this kind of like matte screen where you have like a sort of a tarpaulin on the floor and you've got all the things you've collected together. You put them in the middle, mix them up, and you craft something. It's very intuitive. And also the way that you build with like a skeleton structure. So you can build your base before you build it. And, you know, all of these systems work really well. And it's also, in my opinion, it's the best survival game of all time because it has an attainable end game. So yeah, all in all, this is an absolute pure gem. Number 9, Party Hard. Party Hard is an action stealth game developed by Pinnacle Games. In Party Hard, you play as a character who gets pushed over the edge by his noisy neighbours. You end up going on a killing spree, and the game sees you visiting a variety of parties in order to fulfill your bloodlust. So gameplay wise, it's a pretty simple idea. You're on one screen for the entire level. The party is full of lots of people, and the aim is to kill everyone without being rumbled by the cops. And it's this simple premise that makes for one of the most addictive indie games I've ever played. Like, if you fail the level, there is always that feeling like I'll have one more go. Even if it's 3 in the morning and you've got to get up for work in 3 hours. The levels have, you know, various places where you can trigger traps, like putting on the gas to cause an explosion or triggering all manner of gruesome stuff to go on. The music is also worth a mention. Now, it's very repetitive and it's that kind of house party vibe, but it really just burns into your subconscious. It's so kind of a loop, but it's very addictive. And on the whole, it's a great little game that you might not think looks like that much, but honestly, once you start playing this, it's very difficult to put down. Number 10, Inside. Inside is a puzzle platform adventure game developed and published by Playdead. Inside is quite possibly the best indie game I've ever played, not necessarily for the action, puzzles or platforming, but for the pure beauty and how the game is pieced together with its bleak visual style, stunning ambient music, and just dripping with atmosphere type of vibe. It's also one of the strangest, most bizarre and disturbed journeys you'll ever go on in gaming. You play as a character who is running away from something. That remains unclear, but the journey sees you avoid these brainwashed crowds, controlling robots and malevolent humans that are trying to hunt you down. It has strong echoes of novels such as Orwell's classic 1984, but it's got much more than that going for it. The puzzles are strange, like using machines to control other human characters as you body swap to open up new areas. Venturing in the depths as you use a submarine, encountering really terrifying underwater wildlife. And there's so many moments like that are just truly unforgettable. It also has one of the most unique endings you'll ever see, and it's a game from start to finish that really grips hold of you. Not only in a narrative sense, but the thick atmosphere, the sense of foreboding, and the puzzles themselves. It all just makes you feel uneasy, weird, but ultimately, it's what we play games for the experience, and Inside is one of the most unique, beautifully crafted, and unforgettable experiences in gaming. Okay, those were my suggestions for the 10 indie games you should play. What do you think about that list? Have you played any of those games? What do you think about them? What games would you have on your list? Drop your suggestions in the comments, let's all have a chat about it. But for now, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, please subscribe. This is Photography Gamer, signing off. Thank you.